Have you ever wanted to add beads to your garments or your quilts? I'm here to show you how to do machine beading on your BERNINA sewing machine. To get started, you are going to want to use the smallest needle possible. I have placed a size 60 needle in my machine. I also have monofilament thread on the top of my machine, and I have a lingerie thread in the bobbin. You can use any lightweight bobbin fill thread. You will need to put your project in a hoop. I like to use a spring hoop. Very simply, you're going to put the outside of the ring underneath your fabric and the inside of the ring on the surface, keeping your fabric nice and tight. Before I actually move my hoop under the needle of my machine, I want to pour my beads into the hoop. That's another reason you need to have a hoop. It will corral your beads. I can use very small seed beads. I like to use the assortment of beads that have different sizes and colors and styles of beads. But you do not want to use a bead that is taller than 1/4 of an inch. Let's get started by pouring the beads that I want to use on this project in my hoop. And then move this over to the machine and get ready to sew these on. Now that we're here at the machine, you'll notice that I have no presser foot on my machine. I don't need to use a presser foot for this technique, but I do need to go to the back and lower that presser foot lifter so that I will have tension on my thread. My first step is to lower the needle, raise the needle, and pull up my bobbin thread. I'm going to take a couple securing stitches, and then I need to cut off those thread tails. I will be using a stiletto to push those beads up to the needle. When the bead is in place, I am going to use my hand wheel and put the tip of the needle in the bead. I put just the tip of the needle in the bead so that I can still move this around on my fabric to get the bead in the exact placement that I want. I'm going to use my foot control now to lower that needle, and then I'm using it again to raise the needle, move over away from the bead, and take a couple stitches. You'll notice that the bead went right over the way it's supposed to lay. I'm going to push another bead up to the needle. Make sure it's standing on end so I can see the hole. Again, lower the needle into the bead. If I want it closer, I've just pulled it over. I'm going to drop the needle, raise the needle, move over, and take another stitch. This is a free motion technique, so my feed dogs are lowered. This becomes very rhythmical, and sometimes I like to put in my favorite music just to make it go quicker. As I mentioned before, you don't want to use a bead that's much taller than 1/4 of an inch. As the needle comes down, it widens at the top and can break the bead if it is any taller than that 1/4 inch. To see how you can do free motion machine beading, visit your local BERNINA dealer today.